you are about to listen to is me, Pastor Michael Bowman, as I think out loud about and try to apply the scripture to anything and everything that comes to mind. This usually happens in my car, so jump in and let's talk. I'm someone who puts a pretty high premium on productivity and getting a lot done. It's something that I want to always be growing in, cultivating in my life, is the ability to accomplish more and more. And I don't want to burn out in doing that. I don't want to try to take on more than I can handle and then have it all fall apart. I do think that the worry about burnout and just having too much going on is a weird, almost fascination with this generation, with my generation. There's this, concern that, we don't want to be doing too much. I need a lot more me time. In the ministry, there's always this concern that you're going to burn out. And it's not that I don't think that there's some truth there, but I do think, generally speaking, when I look around, I think laziness is a far greater concern than someone burning out. But I also don't think that those two things are mutually exclusive. I think it's possible for somebody to be a pretty lethargic, lazy person who doesn't do a lot, doesn't accomplish a lot, and yet still ends up, in some sense, burning out. And the reason for that, and what I want to think about here, is that I think a lot of growth, whether it be in the ministry, whether it be in business, whether it be in whatever you're doing, I think a lot of growth happens too quickly and in an inorganic way that is naturally brittle and fragile. So my analogy for this is maybe not the most helpful, because I just said that I want things to grow in an organic, not inorganic way, and this is an organic metaphor, but my analogy or metaphor for thinking about this, the framework I use to think about it, is the difference between, say, most kinds of invasive species of plants that grow really quickly, they grow really fast, they shoot up really quick. They don't have a deep root system though. They don't take firm hold of the soil, but their goal is to just grow as fast as possible. And when that happens, sometimes it looks like they're growing really fast, but also they're incredibly easy to remove. They're incredibly easy to destroy. They're incredibly easy for a heavy wind to knock over, incredibly easy for erosion to pull out. I've been doing a lot of landscaping just behind my house where there's quite a bit of erosion. And what are those things that have easily died and fallen away? Well, a lot of them are the more invasive species that don't have the years of growth. Whereas you have something that grows steadily and slowly and carefully, growing deep root systems, say like an oak tree, where you have a long, steady growth instead of a really quick, sudden growth. That to me is a good metaphor for how we should seek to grow in our productivity, in our responsibilities, in what we do in our lives. I think that if you are all of a sudden taking on a massive load, that is going to be potentially very detrimental, at least if you don't have that deep root system, if you haven't had that slow, careful growth. But if you have that slow, careful growth over the period of a long amount of time, a lot of pressure can be put on you suddenly, a lot of responsibility. There can be a heavy wind that starts blowing against you, and you can still stand. you can still make it okay. The ground around you can start shifting, but because your root system is down deep enough, you can still hold on because you've gained that strength slowly over time. Now, there have been times because I have a more productive mindset, I want to grow, I want to build, I want to add a lot into my life and take on a lot more responsibility. Because I have that mindset, there have been times that in my family we have too much going on. We've gone too fast. We've taken on too much, and that's still a perennial temptation or something that we want to be cautious of and look out for. But what we have found in the last couple of years, especially as we have slowly begun to grow and take on what we can here and there, as we have worked in, whether it be the ministry, whether it be our own lifestyle, as we seek a kind of self-sufficiency and sustainable living, as we do these various things and start these new projects, as we just do a little bit here and a little bit there, and we just slowly grow, just add this skill, add this ability, bring our kids along while we do it, let them experience it and start learning. They can be a part of it. As we just do these very kind of slowly, carefully, methodically, thinking about each thing intentionally, what we have found, and I think that this is going to be generally true across life, is that careful organic growth allows us to carry a lot more, to bear a lot more of a burden, and to do more, to accomplish more, to be more productive and fruitful in our lives. And I think that the typical burnout situation is one where there is an irregular or inorganic kind of growth that is sudden. It's not methodical. It's not intentional. It's not thoughtful at all. It is sudden, quick, just do this. And usually it's lopsided too. So this, I think, is true for a lot of men in the ministry that end up burning out. There are many men. I've been to seminary. I've known many who are heading into the ministry. There are many men in the evangelical church who go into ministry as if it's just another career, who are really not called to it. And so that is going to set you up for burnout right from the start. But there are some who just, things get lopsided. And what I mean by that is their entire life is focused on this one particular area. So you could, if you imagine something like a tree, maybe it starts growing off of one side, and that's the only way that it grows, and it just keeps growing out, right? So it keeps growing into the ministry, and there's nothing else balancing it. The family life is not being thoughtfully cultivated. The other, kind of physical activities that they could be, taking part in. I think often of, ministers in the past. Almost every single one in, the pre-industrial age had a farm. And not everybody can do that today. I understand there are people in cities and things like that, but, there was always this connection to something that was more objective, not more subjective, like dealing with people. There was always this connection with nature. And throughout the scripture, you see that there is this ability to learn things from nature and gain comfort from nature that is often pointed out. You think about even, in the book of Job is suffering and he cries out to God, and what does God do? Well, he walks him through all these different animals. But there's this more rounded view of life, I think, rather than being 100% into just the life of the church. And I think that benefits the life of the church. I think it benefits the pastor and his family life and his personal and emotional life. And that's just not something that happens a lot anymore. Everything is specialized. This is true in our culture generally, and it has become true in the church, where everything is specialized, and so you have this one thing that you think about, this one thing that you do, and that's it. And I think that again, is it's an irregular kind of growth that will lead, if you're growing off to one direction too long, what that can lead to is a weakness in the tree, where the tree is going to pull itself over, or that branch is going to get a bit too big because there's no central growth. There's no growth in the trunk and its ability to, handle the weight of the branch as it grows outward. And so take this for what you will. I do think that this is something that we should all be thinking about as we look to grow, as we look to increase in what we are able to accomplish and in what we're able to glorify God doing. We want to make sure that that is done in a healthy way, in what I'm calling an organic way.
Hey guys, I hope this has been helpful for you. If it has been, go ahead and rate it, review it, or share it with a friend, especially if you're in La Crosse, Wisconsin, or the surrounding areas. That helps me expand the audience and hopefully increase the impact of these ideas. If you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns on anything that I just talked about, you can reach me at pastormichaeljbowman@gmail.com. You can find more content from me, as well as information about the church that I pastor at ccc-pca.org. With that, I hope you can enjoy the many blessings of God today. Until next time.